Але от цікаво, якщо вже говорити про Путіна, що сам Путін включився в цю дипломатичну гонку, теж намагаючись, можна сказати, зацікавити Дональда Трампа своїм власним заявам і вибити інформаційний порядок денний з рук російського президента.
Doesn't come out until March, but it works out well. So my background, I think you heard some of it, but already in a state of war from 2014, 5 years into a war, was being extorted for an investigation, and that this was a prelude to something bigger. Couldn't say I could foresee a full-scale conflict, at least not that early. Certainly it was clear to me by 2021, but that this was a dangerous point, a flashpoint for a broader confrontation between Russia and the NATO alliance and the US, and frankly shaking up the whole world order. And I also felt it acutely from a democratic standpoint, that President Trump, engaging in naked corruption, was attempting to steal free and fair elections. Something that makes the U.S. what it is, frankly. We've had a functional democracy with peaceful transitions of power, free and fair elections up until recently, and as an officer that had sworn an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against enemies foreign and domestic, it was not something I was going to allow to go unanswered on my watch.
Two quick questions. Thank you, first of all, for your stance, continued moral stance on Ukraine. And first quick question is, given the atrocities Ukrainian people are experiencing on a daily basis, was it a mistake to give up the third largest arsenal of nuclear warheads? Yes or no?
So that's one of the things I talk about. I basically look at critical moments in the U.S. relationship with Russia and Ukraine. I look at independence, I look at denuclearization, I look at the Orange Revolution, 2014-22. And one of the things that in my interview said that becomes clear to me is that the that the Ukrainians couldn't necessarily sustain a nuclear arsenal. They didn't have access to, weaponized material that they would need to sustain a cycle, to sustain a nuclear program, especially as weapons were being achieving expiration. And I talked to some of the principal authorities that worked on nuclear. So I think when the Ukrainians were looking at this question, it wasn't whether they keep a nuclear arsenal, it's what can they trade an arsenal that they potentially can't manage anyway in exchange for. And the best that they could manage was security assurances, which turned out to be meaningless, and some financial support. So I don't think it's entirely fair to say that the Ukrainians, could have retained it. One of the first things they did was the things that they could most readily employ. The tactical nuclear weapons were the first things to be transferred over to Russia. And then when you get to the strategic arsenal, that's something that requires a lot more maintenance. Now, the Ukrainians built a lot of the systems, the delivery systems, but in terms of the warheads themselves, that was not a capacity that they had. So it's not quite as simple as should they have given it up. I'm not sure if they felt like they had that much of a choice, and they were aspiring to join Europe. In their view, they wanted to try to get maximum benefit from giving up something that would be highly costly anyway.
Oh, just to jump in there, that was a particularly good chapter in the book, so everybody should buy the book.
Perfect, thank you. No, I'm sorry, it's always difficult to be the bad guy, but I think that we will wrap it up here. We will have an opportunity upstairs, if you join us at the reception, to have more dialogue and discussion.